But the thing about this Drake and Kanye beef is Kanye doesn't stand a chance. He can never win it. Like, he just doesn't understand that. And Kanye fans don't understand that. But we'll get into it. But first, welcome to the reigning, defending, undefeated, undisputed, most podcast on this godforsaken planet, a little show we call Nobody Asked Shawn, hosted by none other than me, the Thin Black Duke, the Shogun's Decapitator, Chico Diamante himself, the Diamond Boy Shawn Murray, international heartthrob, heir to the Murrays here, primary fortune, of course, first Jamaican in the Kentucky Derby, air horns, air horns, air horns, air horns. So what I was saying is, Kanye can never win this beef, and it's because, it's for multiple reasons. Number one, Kanye is probably the worst possible guy to go up against Drake. Like, he's not built for beef. Like, he's never really beefed with anybody. He's not that type of rapper. Like, who has Kanye beefed with? Because people are going to bring up the 50 Cent thing. But, like, the thing about the 50 Cent and Kanye beef was it's not a beef. It was a marketing ploy. At best, it was a sales competition. The hip-hop version of whichever class sells the most candy bars gets a pizza party at the end of the year. Like, that's what it was, essentially. Like, it was a changing of the guard in hip-hop. It was the ending of one era and the beginning of a new era. The 50 Cent era of the tough guy, big time, like the big tough gangster rapper, it was going out, and the Kanye kind of a little bit more sensitive, brash shit talker who doesn't have the street cred but makes great music. That was his era. I say all that to say that's not a beef. That is, like I said, it's a sales competition, and there was never really any bad blood between those two guys. The thing about the Drake and Kanye beef is because Kanye, as good of a rapper as good as his raps have been, has never been like, I'm going to be on your head type of nigga. And the thing with Drake is, Drake didn't start his career out as that, but every time Drake has been challenged, that nigga rose to the occasion. Like, that's at the very least, whether you're a Drake fan or not, you have to admit that nigga rose to the occasion. Did niggas drop the ball? Absolutely. This nigga Meek should have dropped his response sooner, and it should have been harder. It was too late by the time he actually responded, whether it was good or not. People were doing like, oh, war paint. Like, who gives a fuck? Most niggas didn't hear that shit. Everybody heard back to back because it was nigga, like, he put Charged Up out. Some people say that was better than back to back, but back to back was, I'm dancing on your grave now. You can't allow that to happen. Kanye doesn't stand a chance in that because Kanye don't rap like that. Kanye has writers who rap like that. I'm sure Push can write him some hard shit. I'm sure Consequence can write him some hard shit. I'm sure Sci-Hi can write him some hard shit. But we'll feel the difference. We'll know that's not coming from Kanye. We'll know it's coming directly from those guys because Kanye's never been that guy. He's never had that sort of edge to him. He's had like I'm an asshole edge. Like Kanye is somebody who could be real mean to an assistant, but he don't say he'd be real mean to another rapper. You know what I mean? Like, he would be, unless it's somebody like that video of where he's yelling at Chance and saying like your album flopped or whatever. It's like, he can be mean to that nigga, but he's not gonna be mean to a peer on that level because, like, nigga, I don't have to put up with this. So Kanye, like, the thing is, like, this nigga Drake is rapping and Kanye's not. So the Drake shit don't even got to be that hard all the time. Cause a lot of this shit is kind of like, it's the whole beef is corny. Like, it's literally a popularity contest. The problem is Kanye is the one who's instigating it, and it looks bad on him because it makes it feel like the nigga is jealous of that somebody else is taking his spot when you should be embracing that fact, man, nigga. Because this nigga Drake, when you embrace like the person who's gonna replace you, they will carry you through for a number of more years. Because they'll be the liaison between your old fan base and their new fan base, which will bring you more fans and extend your career. But that nigga Kanye, it very much feels like that nigga's just like, I'm the guy, whatever, and it's not the case anymore. And it's Kanye's fault, because this is my other point. The reason, like I said, Drake is rapping. The reason Kanye can't win this beef is because Drake is making better music. I'm not a huge Drake fan. I'm a much bigger Kanye fan than I am a Drake fan. I don't love any Drake album. But in the period of time since they started beefing, Kanye's making worse music. I haven't been a super fan of any Kanye albums since Dark Twisted Fantasy. I liked Pablo. I always say about Pablo is it's either the worst good album I've ever heard or the best bad album I ever heard. Because it's not perfect. It's not even always very good. But when it's good, it's very good. But I'm gonna even go back to Yeezus. Right? Here's my issue with Yeezus. Sonically, yes, I can see how he's pushing things forward. How it's a new thing. Not to say that like that sound is completely new. There's other people doing Death Grips and Daft Punk and all other sorts of people who made sounds similar to that. But the thing with that album for me was I feel like that was at the time was the worst rapping of Kanye West's career. And I know Kanye West is not just a rapper. He's a songwriter. He's a producer. He's an artist as a whole. But like, put my fist in her like the civil rights sign. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it was like a primal. That album was. And I can appreciate it as like a primal expression of where he was at mentally and emotionally at the time. But like just as a rap album, I didn't appreciate it as much as his earlier projects. And you can say it wasn't a rap album. Whatever. I don't care. That's not my point. My point is his rap steadily declined. Everyone, we've all talked about Father Stretch My Hands. My nigga, like, how do you construct that magnificent, amazing, beautiful beat and then approach it with the mindset of I'm gonna talk about bleached assholes? Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And it's especially crazy because people talk about working with Kanye West and he's a perfectionist and he'll have niggas rewrite their verses. Pusha T's talked about that. Like when he wrote his Runaway verse, he was like, that nigga had me rewrite that verse like mad times. When we were working on all sorts of music, he had me rewrite verses and he's like, nigga, like, I'm nice. Like, how you gonna tell me to rewrite this shit? He's like, but it made him better. So where was that for himself? Kanye lost that for himself. So overall, it didn't feel as strong. Like there's some good songs on there. Like I like Waves. I like 30 Hours. No More Parties in LA. The transition from Real Friends into Wolves is one of the best things Kanye's ever done musically, I think. But there's a bunch of shit that's like I don't need that on there. Like it's good, but it's not very good. Like it's clearly a step down, and it's because of his rapping. It's not because of the production. It's never because of his production. For the most part. Like let's just go through it. Ultralight Beam. Good song. Very good song. It sets a great tone for the album. It's like an amazing chance verse. It's ethereal. It's fucking heavenly. Beautiful song. Father Stretch My Hands Part 1. Again, if it wasn't for Kanye's actual verse on it, it might be one of the top 10 songs of his career. Part 2 is just Panda, so you get no points for that. That's I don't want to give it a 0, but that doesn't count. Famous. Politically, it's weird. I like the beat. Some of the bars on there is cool, but it's also like it's that weird like Kanye misogyny and like the Taylor Swift thing is weird. It's a pretty good song. Feedback, I don't need it. Low Lights is not really the production is good, but it's not a Kanye West song. Highlights, I like Highlights. I don't love it, but I like Highlights. Freestyle 4, I could do without it. I love Kanye. Is like it's kind of just a fun little lark. It's not a 44-second like just kind of freestyle. Waves, I think is incredible. I'm not a Chris Brown fan. I don't support Chris Brown. That nigga voice. I remember somebody said that nigga voice sound like a laser beam on that song, and that's the most accurate thing. Like he sounds great on that song. But also that nigga changes the versions of it, and one of them sounds better than the other. I can't remember which one it was. Real Friends. I like Real Friends. Wolves is great. And like I said, Real Friends into Wolves is great. Frank's track, I don't even remember that. That's like an additional thing that he added later. But Frank Ocean is great. The Silver Surfer thing is not a track. 30 Hours I like, even though it's not great raps, but he makes a good song. He can construct a good song. No More Parties in LA I love. Facts is whatever. And Fade is a great beat and vibe to that song. So it's like a 7.5 album, maybe an 8, but it's not great, and it's the worst contribution to it is Kanye West, the rapper, and not Kanye. Like Kanye West, the producer, is hitting it out of the park. Kanye West, the rapper, is not really bringing it at his best, right? And then going from there, we got Ye. Kids See Ghosts is great, but it's not a Kanye West solo project. And also that reminds me of Watch the Throne, which I think is a really good. I think you take 3 songs off of Watch the Throne, and it's an A+. And then you got Donda. So, the reason I'm talking about this is somebody asked me about. I got questions this week about both Kanye West and Drake's album, and like, did you hear them? What did you think? I'm not a huge Drake fan. I heard CLB. I thought it was a Drake album. Like I didn't think it was outstanding. I thought there was some really good raps on there. I thought there was some really weak bars on there at points. But Drake always does that. But the rest of it, like Drake will have a really, really just kind of like eighth grade level bar where it's like, this is, come on, bro. Like, and this is not a particularly bad bar, but it's definitely not high level rap. Like on 7 a.m. in Bridal Path, which is his best rapping on the album. He says, "Don't move like a puto. At least keep it a buck like Antetokounmpo." It's like, come on, bro. That's like, that bar is like if there was a rap sports punchline book, like a book for how to write punchlines with rapper names, rap bars with rapper names. That would be on the outside of the packaging. Like, here's an example. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's so basic. But Drake can get away with it because the rest of the song is very good. And also, he's the most popular artist on earth. So, like, niggas is just like, let niggas get away with certain shit. It's just what it is. When you at a certain level, you can get away with certain shit. And that's one of the things with Kanye, right? Kanye's not at that level anymore. Kanye has done a lot to one, there's a Drake, and two, Kanye West's so many of his antics have kind of like lessened his popular opinion. He's still very popular, but he's not held in the same esteem. Like, even after the Taylor Swift shit, which is like an asshole move. We can all agree on that. Like, whether or not Beyonce had the better album, you don't go on stage where somebody's accepted an award and saying like this. I'm not relitigating 10-year-old shit, but it's like, come on, bro, that was an asshole move. But even after that, the music was so strong, and Kanye West is like we kind of accepted him as an asshole, and but all the Trump shit and all the the Yeezy capitalist rants about fuck, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, and that leads me to my final point. The music is not as strong. Now, let me say up front, I have not listened to Donda. I probably won't listen to Donda anytime soon. So this is all taken off people else's opinion. I'm hearing from people who love the album, from people who like the album, from people who dislike the album. Is that Kanye West contributions to that album are the weakest part, not production wise, as a vocalist, as a rapper, whatever. His production, his contributions to the album are the weakest part, and that's why he'll never win, because this is a rap battle. It's a popularity contest, but essentially it's a battle between two rappers. Only one of them is doing really good raps. Like, bro, listening to the Andre 3000 song, two things stand out to me. One, how dare you waste such a heartfelt and incredible and personal Andre 3000 verse with your bullshit about this Drake beef. Like, who gives a fuck about this shit when you got this shit? Stay on topic, bro. Because that's what you said. Because that's what even 3 Stacks said in his statement. He was like, when I got sent the song, it wasn't none of that shit on there. And why would it be? Like, he's like, this is supposed to be an album about your mother. Why are you even redressing this Drake person? Like, who gives a fuck? Like let's make a fucking amazing song about like our connection to our mothers and shit like that. Like that, bro. That 3 Stacks verse is otherworldly, and it's completely wasted as fodder for this dumbass beef. Like who the fuck cares about Drake at a moment like this, bro? You got 3 Stacks who doesn't even give out that many verses, fucking like putting it all out there, and you just like squander it on some bullshit. And that leads to my second point. The second point is the shots at Drake aren't even good shots. And that's the thing I was saying before about like rapping versus rapping. Like, Drake doesn't even have to be the best. Drake is a very good rapper. I would never, like, I'm not a huge Drake fan, but I would never deny that Drake is a very good rapper. But Drake's raps don't even have to be that good, because when he's on your ass, he's on your ass. Drake's shit is like, Kanye's shit is like, oh, it's not even about the text that you sent. And like, bro, the bars are not good. So it's like, you can't win. If it's a popularity contest, Drake is more popular. If it's a rap contest, Drake is the better rapper. And not to say that you couldn't have bars that would be as good, but they aren't as good. And the thing is, like, I'm not comparing the two albums. I don't care. But the thing is, I don't know if Donda is the better album, top to bottom. But as a rap project, of course, CLB is the better project. And that's why Kanye loses, because the music is not as strong. The music has not been as strong for years. I'm, again, not a huge Drake fan, but even if you just cobble together the best, like if you thought any of his albums were bloated, or just took the best tracks of the best rap tracks from his last 3 albums versus Kanye West's last 3 albums, it's not even close. And what you can always say for Kanye West is, like, sonically as a producer, like, I think Kanye West is the best rap producer of all time, or the best producer in the history of hip hop. You can argue forever. Dr. Dre, Alchemist is my favorite producer. But I think, like, Kanye's done so much with so many artists, and it's all amazing, and even outside of hip hop. But this is a rap battle. Like, nigga, like, you're not gonna compose your way out of this, bro. This is not Mozart versus Salieri. This is Drake versus Kanye West. We want to hear you have good raps, and you're not doing it. So you're never gonna win. You're never gonna win. And all this whole beef just comes off of you feeling salty about this nigga having a bigger pool than you. It's real corny, and it's just a shame that, like, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was just saying, like, the shame about when beef shit like this happens is that it kind of just changes the trajectory of people's careers forever. Like, there will not be anytime soon a time where Drake drops a project where there won't be some sort of shot at Kanye or Push, or people reading that into it, even if it's not necessarily a shot at those people. Same thing with Push, same thing with Kanye. And it's a shame because I'd rather just hear the music that didn't involve any of this beef shit. It's a shame because, again, Kanye should have just embraced. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I'm sure, like, Drake told that story on, I think it was on The Shop. This version of the beef started again when Kanye had him come to the studio. He played him the Lift Yourself beat, and he was like, "Oh, like, I want you to write on it." And he started writing to it, and then, like, a week later, Kanye drops Lift Yourself, and it's just poopty scoop, whatever, and he just felt like he was being trolled by Kanye. And he was like, "All right, like, and now I'm like, let's get back to it." But that's just Drake's side of the story. I'm sure that Kanye would have, different things, but it ultimately just feels like a nigga just not embracing the guy who's going to surpass him. And again, I'm not saying Drake didn't do anything or whatever, but we don't know that side of the story. And then obviously, of course, there's the Kim Kardashian of it all, which, I mean, again, we might never know if Drake actually fucked Kim Kardashian, but Kanye seems to believe that Drake is at least suggesting it, and Drake has not really backed off of those allegations in any way. I heard an album of leaks that niggas was saying was Certified Lover Boy a few days before it came out, and it actually didn't end up being the project. But there's a track on there where he plays a sample of how Drake is fucking all Kim's friends. He plays at the beginning of the song that heavily implies that he's like, "Oh, I'm fucking all of her friends, just her friends, huh?" It's like, I don't know, man. It's so there's that part of it, and it feels like Kanye either thinks Drake's suggesting that or that he did. And in that case, I mean, I guess this beef could never be really solved. Like, if you fuck somebody's wife, like, all bets are kind of off. Unless you're okay with that. You have a type of relationship where that's allowed. But it doesn't seem like that's the type of relationship where that's allowed because Kanye doesn't seem very happy about it. So, I don't know, man. It's very odd. It's a very weird situation because Kanye's going to take the L no matter what. And even going back to the music, like, Drake is better at trolling. He's better at doing internet shit. Like when's the last time Kanye? One of the things that's like so upsetting about Kanye is, like, Kanye used to be so funny. Like, Kanye used to be like a fun rapper, and he's lost that entirely. And I can understand that there's things that happen in his life that would create that, but Drake will make, and even, like, again, I think Drake is very corny. Like not even just like Drake the rapper. I'm talking about like Drake the like Drake dancing in Hotline Bling video and the way too sexy shit. It's like, it's corny, but it's corny in a way that it's memeable. And, like, so even if the joke is on Drake, it seems like he's at least in on the joke. But when Kanye's memeable, it's because he's wearing a Trump hat at the White House, or he's at TMZ telling us that slavery was a choice. Like, nigga, you're like, you never gonna come off good. Like, Drake, I don't know if Drake is a nice guy. I don't know if Drake is actually a good guy, but he seems way more charming and affable and fun to be around than Kanye West could ever feel like. At least this version of Kanye West. He's got documented mental health issues, and that I'm sure that contributes to that. And also, he's had a lot of emotional pain over the years. But ultimately, he just comes off feeling bitter, man. And the bitter person is never going to feel like the person who wins. Bitter never beats charm and affability, even if the bitter person has the stronger claim to being offended. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't beat this nigga, and it's your own fault. Goddamn, that went way too long. I did not intend to talk about Drake and Kanye West for that long, so I didn't got time to get to questions this week. However, somebody did ask a question about Michael K. Williams. Like, what was my favorite Michael K. Williams scene or line? And I'm gonna address that on the first episode of Shawn International Film Festival, which is definitely coming next week. I'm making it my mission to put it out next week for sure. So expect that next week. I'm going to answer that question. Other than that, every other question I was sending next week, I'm going to just answer it next week. It'll just be a longer question segment because I fucked up. I don't even care about these niggas this much to be talking about them, but I did it. I had to do it. Did I do it for you or did I do it for me? I think it was mostly for me. I did it for you guys. Or maybe I just did it because I can't stop talking once I get going. But let me know if you thought that was cool, like just a longer form, one segment sort of thing, or do you like it better when I like address like 25 different topics in an episode? Drop that diamond in the chat if you made it this far into the episode. And like I said, Shawn International Film Festival coming next week. And as always, Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, nigga.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.